Welcome to Development Hell. For every horror movie that hits VOD, countless others end up DOA. Development Hell is the podcast dedicated to unearthing these cursed horror productions. We're going to find out what went wrong and then decide if these titles still stand a shot at the green light. I am your host, Josh Corngut. I am a filmmaker in Toronto, Canada. This podcast is a proud member of the Dread Podcast Network. Available now from Dread, Bad Candy. On Halloween night in New Salem, radio DJs Chili Billy, Corey Taylor, and Paul, played by Zach Galligan, tell a twisted anthology of terrifying local myths that lead to a grim end for small-town residents. So, if you love Slipknot, Gremlins, and horror, this is the film for you. Bad Candy is out now, on demand everywhere, and you can get your hands on the Blu-ray October 10th. Okay, I'm just going to run into it. Were you impressed last time that I literally just, sank into it like a demon?
I did. It was great.
You okay, hi, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Development Hell. Today, we are going to be covering a James Wan original concept, The Crooked Man. We're covering this today in celebration of the release of Malignant, which just hit theaters September 10th. And we have a returning guest today. This person is not a horror aficionado. They are not an industry person. So, calm down. This is my best friend, Jules. She was with us on our last episode about Jaws 3 People Zero. Welcome, Jules. You're back to the podcast already.
I'm back.
Oh,
I
my
know.
God. How do you feel about that?
I so love being here, but as we're gonna go through in the movie, it was a hard one for me.
Oh, I know it was, and we're gonna get there. But Jules, in case people weren't listening last week, can you do me a favor and just introduce yourselves to the Development Hell audience?
Yeah. So hi, everybody. Again, I'm Juliana, but everyone calls me Jules. I have no connection at all to horror or media or anything creative really at all. I am a social worker, I'm a counselor, and I specialize in addictions and mental health and trauma.
So what's our origin story, Jules? How would you introduce Josh and Jules to the world real fast?
I just feel like our friendship is so chaotic. We're best friends. We've been best friends for 15 years. We met in high school. As I said last week, I guess, we were prom queen and king. So we were, over the top people. And I think we fell in love because of that. But we fight basically nonstop. And I think we agree on basically nothing.
Yeah, people are like, why are you friends? And then we're like, you don't understand.
Truly.
We get mad at that. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of our friends are like, how are you guys best friends? How do you see each other so often? And I'm like,
but we don't. But we're like, because we're better than you.
That's it.
That's why.
You don't understand our wavelength. Anyways.
Jules, I was wondering what your relationship with James Wan films are, and if you have any favorites. Do you want me to run you by what his directorial efforts are?
Yes, please.
Okay. We've got Saw, Dead Silence, Insidious 1 and 2, The Conjuring 1 and 2, Fast 7, and Aquaman. I am leaving out a couple just to be a dick.
He did a lot.
Yeah. There was also one called Death Sentence, just for full disclosure.
So Dead Silence.
Number one.
Well, I really like Dead Silence. I think it's really great. Also, if I didn't like Dead Silence, I think you would murder me.
Why do you say that?
Because it's your favorite movie ever.
Okay, it is.
Exactly.
It actually, it is. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
I think I've seen it 3 times because you've been like, we need to watch Dead Silence again.
Did you like it?
I do know. I really, really like it. It has basically everything I want in a horror movie. It's kind of campy, but it is scary. It's fun, even though it still has that horror feeling.
Oh, it's certainly fun. Yeah. I just did a definitive ranking of all the James Wan directorial efforts. I said that again for Dread Central, and I put Dead Silence as number 3, thinking it would be really controversial because I thought people hated it. Turns out I was absolutely wrong. Everybody's here for Dead Silence in 2021.
Wow, I can't believe you made it number 3.
I wanted to. Do you mean is that too low?
Yeah, you went against yourself.
I know. The thing is democracy is important, especially
Mm.
now. And so I did.
Yeah.
I was consulted by a number of other Dread individuals. I'll keep their names hidden for the safety of them and their families.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other
Yeah,
James
so
Wan movies that like made it into your zeitgeist?
well, now that you're telling me this, there's only been 2 movies in my entire life that have scared me so bad that I couldn't sleep that night. And
Mhm.
one was Saw, and the other one was Insidious.
Oh my god!
So it's crazy to me that he did both. I had no idea.
Oh, you didn't
I
know?
didn't know. I had no idea.
They are very different movies.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll give you a bit of like a history of those two titles.
please.
So Saw was his first movie, made for nothing back in 2004.
Mhm.
Huge success, one of the most profitable movies of all time.
Mm.
So after that, he kind of had carte blanche in Hollywood, and he made Dead Silence, which was a huge flop. And so
Oh.
for a long time, he was kind of in director jail. And he made Insidious eventually for like $1 million, which was very little. And it also was now considered to be one of the most profitable films of all time. And then The Conjuring came out a couple years after that, and that was huge. And then ever since then, he's been, one of the biggest names in the industry.
Yeah, I'm surprised Insidious was made for so little. It seemed like it was made for more.
I know, Quill. It's just that's why it's such a perfect film. That made the number one spot on our list
Oh,
for.
there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like exactly what same with Saw. It's just like the best
Mhm.
of what sort of a low budget can do in
Uh-huh.
horror.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say okay, so for me I would say my favorite we talked about Dead Silence. I love the Insidious movies. They're like I like them way more than we'll get into it, but you know this. Well, do you know why I like the Insidious movies more than I like the Conjuring movies?
Huh. I would guess, this is just because I know you, that Insidious kind of brings up more like sleep paralysis stuff, and I know that kind of scares you
Uh,
and intrigues you.
you're not wrong.
Um, and The Conjuring is pretty religious, and you're not really into religious
Well,
horror.
that's the tea. Yes. So
Ah,
I don't find religious. I just it just really doesn't do it for me. But when you take away religiousness from ghosts, it's like, of course, this isn't real, but it's a little easier for me to be like, well, I don't know. Like,
right. Less Jesus, more.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I don't believe in the religious stuff as a fact, but this other ooey gooey stuff, I don't have an opinion on.
Yeah, well, what's crazy is that religious horror scares the fuck out of me. Sorry to swear, but I am an atheist. And so I
Yeah.
don't know why it scares me. Like, but it does.
Yeah, for you, I've always noticed it's like the intangible stuff that's
Yeah.
scarier because it kind of can get you anywhere. Meanwhile, like you can kind of protect yourself from a killer if you,
Well,
you can kind of protect yourself from a killer if you do your due diligence.
yeah, I mean, I think I could. I mean, I probably couldn't, but in my mind, I could totally protect myself
Yeah,
from a killer. Yeah.
but with a supernatural entity, you're like, well, I might as well just
Yeah.
close my eyes and wait till I die.
Not to jump too ahead for The Conjuring 2, but there's a part where the little girl like closes the door and puts a chair on the door, and I was like, little girl, demons and ghosts can get through doors, and I literally yelled it
They
at the screen.
hmm Yes, they can.
Yeah.
They absolutely can. Okay, so outside of the James Wan like total discography, there is the Conjuring extended universe.
Mhm.
A couple of these movies he hasn't directed, so I'm just going to run us through what those are. So we have the 3 Conjuring movies. The third one he did not direct.
Mm.
Annabelle 1 through 3, he did not direct any of those.
Oh.
The Nun, he didn't direct that, and The Curse of Elorna, I don't know if I'm saying that right. I apologize. So out of those, like, have you seen any of the Annabelle movies?
I haven't seen a single one of those movies.
Oh, really?
I've heard really bad things about Annabelle.
Okay.
And I think
Interesting.
that's why I just didn't do it. The Conjurings looked too scary to me, so I never did that.
Yeah, they are scary.
Yeah, fuck, it was really scary. So yeah, no, and then I never heard of that other weird one that
The
you
Curse of Elorna, yeah,
never heard of.
and the Nun. So Annabelle 1 through 3, I'll give a little bit of my opinion, and I think it may be the horror community consensus to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
The first film, I think, was a bit of a stinker. I don't think a lot of people really liked it, although it made a lot of money.
Oh,
And then I actually am a big fan of the second 2, and I think horror fans are kind of on my side. They're really fun. They're kind of carnival scary. They just like get the job done in a way that's very fun and like not trying too hard.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I like that. I like that vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also don't love the whole like haunted doll trope.
Oh, well, then you might want to stay clear of all of these movies because that's exactly what they are.
That's all it is. I mean, if it's fun carnival horror, I like that idea.
Yeah, that's what they are, and they lean a little further away from the religious stuff. Although the Ed and Lorraine characters are in at least one of them, the
They
third one
love
for sure.
God so much. It's like
I know, I
distracting
know,
almost.
I know. It's like, girl,
God
God's
bless
not dead too. Okay, starring Melissa
Joan Hart.
Joan Hart. Yeah, I know, some McCarthy.
I- oh my God.
I would watch
I
that.
was gonna say better movie, but it would be so disappointing.
Is there a God's Not Dead one? Because I've
Yeah,
never heard
there
of
is.
it. If there is she in that one?
I don't think she's in it.
Okay, so that's why we never heard of it. Obviously,
And my guess is that they're like totally different.
I hope that they are.
How much can you talk about getting rid of the Ten Commandments?
Is that what that is?
Yeah,
You
it's
don't know.
because
Oh,
no, I
really?
do
You
know. It's
know?
the
Oh my God, tell
Satanist
me.
church. The Satanist church
Oh no.
wanted to get the Ten Commandments because right by I think it's the Supreme Court.
Oh
There's the
no.
Ten Commandments in stone, and they were like, "We want to get rid of these." And literally, God's Not Dead 2 is about them fighting that, so they can keep the Ten Commandments in front of the church, in front of the court.
And
In the movie, they win. I think
Mhm.
in real life, they don't.
I'm in class. That's what I would expect out of God's Not Dead too. We should
Right?
do. We should. If I had a Patreon, we would be doing a
Oh,
special Patreon only. God's Not Dead too.
we have talked about it twice now.
Was it last week as well?
Yes, 'cause I said
Yeah.
Melissa Joan Hart has the same birthday as me.
Oh, that's how this all happened. Good. I don't mind a motif. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I think if I'm not wrong, I'm just gonna go with this. Hopefully, this
Mhm.
isn't a big lie. There was a movie called The Watcher in the Woods, starring Betty Davis from like the early '80s, like a spooky Disney movie.
Oh.
I believe, if I'm not wrong, Melissa Joan Hart, not that long ago, directed a remake starring who's the lady that got Angelica Houston.
And thank you, God. Yes.
Sorry about that. And I believe it started as Angelica Houston. Isn't that interesting?
I love Angelica Houston so much.
I know.
And that almost makes me upset.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's as bad as it looks as bad as it sounds.
Yeah, that she's fallen so far from grace that she's doing like a weird Melissa Joan Hart movie.
It's spooky though.
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure Angelica Houston is great. She's never been bad in anything.
So The Conjuring 2. What are our first experiences with this movie? Let's start with you, Jules.
So this was my first foray into any of the Conjuring movies because, like I said earlier, I did not want to watch them. I knew they'd scare me.
This is why you're perfect guest. Perfect guest.
Yeah. And it literally took me 4 hours to watch a 2-hour movie.
Oh my God, Jules.
I had to keep taking breaks because I was so scared. I also watched it during the day. It was like 1 p.m. when I turned it on. I kept locking the door. I kept looking behind me. I was a mess today. But I got through it and I finished it.
Wow, I'm very sorry to disturb you so badly. Did you like it?
Like out of 5, I'd give it a 3.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was, it really scared me. It did what it needed to do. The main kid actor wasn't that bad at acting. The other
No,
kid
which
actors
is
kind of
which
sucked.
is always black magic to me when
Oh.
a kid isn't terrible.
I'm also always scared when a movie starts and I'm like, oh fuck, it centers around children. This is gonna suck. But it wasn't that bad. She really wasn't that bad. So really
No.
that was okay. I
Yeah.
will say that some of it there was just too much CGI, which I'm sure we'll get into.
There
And that kind of
really was, especially with what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Which in case anyone forgot about, we are talking about The Crooked Man. Yes, this is a spinoff of one of the biggest bads in James Wan character history. He is a bit of a boogeyman-esque character that has made one appearance, and it was in The Conjuring 2. He also has an origins in nursery rhyme, Mother Goose kind of stuff. And we'll get to his details pretty soon.
Come on, Mother Goose.
Come on, Mother Goose. It always makes me laugh and drag when they call rhyming good. Mother Goose. It's so funny. It's one of those things I've always wanted to pocket for myself, but have never remembered to use.
Oh yeah, and I feel like it's so niche. Like random people would be like, "Sorry, what?"
What? Oh, I mean, listen. I feel like now, unfortunately, I'm going to say 30% of my vernacular is drag.
Yeah,
and no straight people understand. None of them.
Well,
but they find it fun.
Right, yeah, that's true. Oh
Is
my God,
the
you're totally the Jack to my Karen.
That's rude. This is
I know.
okay. I feel like, but this is an inside joke that maybe people don't understand. They might be able to connect the pieces because it's not that complicated. But
Right. It's the joke is just, and Josh says this all the time, and it's true. Any
used to. This
person,
has been a long time
you're
since this
right. Any
thing.
person that like brings up Will and Grace around Josh's friendship to be like, you're the Will to my Grace, or you're the Jack to my Karen, they're probably kind of a bad person.
Yeah, absolutely. This was more of an issue, I would say, in 10
Yeah.
years ago. I feel like the culture has thankfully evolved to having other touchstone queer references
Thank
other than
God.
Will and Grace, thankfully.
Yeah.
Some of them are equally terrible. Like, if you know me, you know my number one enemy is Queer Eye for the Straight Guys. All of them, most of them, at least two or three.
I was right on that though. I
Yeah,
didn't
you were.
like Jonathan
We
Van
no,
Ness.
no, no. We don't need the world. I feel like
Oh,
they
right.
don't.
Sorry.
I don't want to tell them
No,
how we feel about people that people like.
you're right. You're right. Sorry
Yeah,
about
we
that.
don't love JVN, but that's okay. You can love JVN, and we don't have to. This is
Yeah.
fine. It's
They're
fine.
fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Um. So okay. So yeah. So you were kind of hot and cold on it. You haven't seen the first film or the third film,
no, not at all.
and would you at this point in your life?
Almost yes. Almost I'm curious. I think
Hmm.
the first one more than the third.
Well, yeah.
I'd like to know more of the origin of this like weird Christian couple.
Mm-hmm.
But that's yeah, I don't I mean maybe the third. If it was forced upon me, I'd probably watch it. But yeah.
So you're interested in the Warrens, who are based on Ed and Lorraine Warren, which were two real people that not
Sure.
necessarily were real demonologists, but they claim to have been. So we can call it based on real events.
Honestly, the real pictures at the end scared me.
Yeah, they would.
I
It's so
know
easy. It's
it's
so
so easy.
easy for Hollywood to be like, it's real.
I
It's lost
know.
complete meaning.
I know. I remember that with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like the first
Yeah,
time I saw it, being like, "Oh my god, it's real," and then like learning about Ed Gein and being like, "Oh, so it's like not,
it's not real
it's
at
not
all. It
real at
is
all."
gross in real life, but it's different.
Yeah. Oh, it's horrible, but it's just not that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Ed Gein's gross.
Yeah.
Poor
He's
guy.
a sad, sad, scary man.
Scary man. He did have mom issues, right?
Oh
That
yeah, he
wasn't
made
just
it.
the
He
movies.
literally made a suit so he could look like his
Never mind.
mom.
Never mind. It's
Sorry,
fine.
guys.
I don't know why I'm so finicky about. Well, I have mom issues.
It's a horror podcast. Anyways.
Hmm. All right, so let's get to the Crooked Man. He's only made one appearance. It was in this film that we watched today.
Hmm.
How would you define what the Crooked Man was in this movie?
So I thought he was his own demon until like the end when they kind of explain it differently.
Hmm.
I thought he was like in the very beginning of The Conjuring 2 when this guy kind of kills his entire family.
Uh-huh.
The Crooked Man makes the little girl say this like poem that's like, and then he kills his crooked family or something.
Hmm.
And I thought that's what was going to happen. I thought the Crooked Man was going to like take over her body and like break her bones to be crooked and then make her kill her family.
Oh, that would be scary.
I know. So I was like really scared at first. I was like, my interpretation was scarier than what ended up
Way
happening.
scarier. Well, it just kind of felt undercooked. It was
Mhm.
just like a show up queen, as some
Yes.
would say.
I think it's
Mhm.
scary to see like body parts really crooked and stuff.
Yes.
Like Give Me Pet Cemetery, that kind of like I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
scary. So I think that's why they did it. It felt like that was kind of just thrown in there to be like, this is a scary image.
Yeah, it's so unnatural, and maybe there's something evolutionary about us being really freaked out by broken bones
Oh
because back
yeah.
in the day it was probably a death sentence. Yeah, I guess, were you aware it was based on
No.
an English nursery rhyme? Either was I, actually.
No.
So there was a Crooked Man. It was an English nursery rhyme that dates from 1842. In it, the Crooked Man wasn't originally a villain, but it was repurposed, of course, in this film, The Conjuring 2, by, as you were saying, the nun evil hell demon at the end, who was
Valid.
sort of Valak, yes, who is thank you, who was sort of puppeting all the other scary ghosts in the house.
Hmm.
I believe, if I'm not wrong, kind of rewrites the Crooked Man poem to make it scary, scary, scary. Can I read it to you?
Yeah, please. Oh my God.
It's 8 lines, though. Are you going to be okay with that?
I'll live.
And yeah, okay. If I hate it, I can always cut it. Right, everybody at home? Okay. So, There Was a Crooked Man is the name of this story.
Okay.
There was a crooked man, and he walked a crooked mile. He found a crooked sixpence upon a crooked stile. He bought a crooked cat, which caught a crooked mouse, and they all lived together in a little crooked house.
That's the original, right?
I believe that is from the original.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's scary. Like, it's the
It it,
idea of a
it
crooked
is.
man and like a crooked house. Like, there's something really creepy about
Oh
that.
my god, do you know what I just remembered? Do you remember the Pink Lady story?
Oh, maybe not. Tell me it again.
Okay, there was this bit that I like to do in high school that it was definitely like a joke I heard somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And the joke was, I'm not going to do it, but you tell a story about a pink lady, and the gist is the pink lady lived in a pink house with a pink cat, and her
Yes.
walls were pink, and you go on like that for as long as you want. Like,
Yes.
and her desk was pink, and she wrote with pink pen, and you just do that for a really long time to like get your whoever you're telling the story like invested, and then kind of irritated that it's going on for so long, and then I forget the end is just like, and then that's the end. And the joke is that you just wasted somebody's time for no reason at all, and they
I
get
do
mad.
remember you telling me this joke.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This kind of reminds me of this. They're both quite stupid. Do we find the Crooked Man scary in the nursery rhyme, in the movie, in like the zeitgeist? Is he a scary guy?
So here's what I'll say about the Crooked Man.
Mm,
What I found scary was when that thing is spinning and you see like a little cartoon of the Crooked Man walking.
yeah,
I found that really scary.
yeah. It
But
was like a shadow lamp, that
yes,
projects on the walls. Yes,
yes. And I was like, that's fucking scary. But then the actual Crooked Man was so CGI
he was very CGI.
that it
Yes,
didn't work. It just
no,
was scary for me.
it was from 2016 too. I don't know. This one
Mhm.
exactly an excuse, but yeah.
I really find CGI in most movies, especially horror movies, just really takes me out of it.
Yeah, CGI is crappy. What at least these movies provide are CGI in full dark,
Yeah, yeah,
unlike
yeah.
the Avengers movies and all that, who have more money, do it broad daylight CGI, which is always so alienating, and I'll say it, uncanny valley.
Oh,
Um,
Uncanny Valley.
Uncanny Valley. You see, when I saw this in theaters, I was I'm a scaredy cat,
Yeah.
and I'll cover my ears and my eyes for most scary parts, and so I don't think I like really saw the Crooked Man like full out the first time, and this time I got a really good look, and yes, he's quite CGI.
I
But
gotta
can
say, I hate
uh-huh.
that about you. You'll like make me watch a horror movie and then it traumatizes me while you're closing your eyes and plugging your ears.
I never said you can't. Like I don't understand. I
I
don't make
know.
your rules.
My personality though, I can't not see it. I need to see it. I'm
Mm.
curious.
Yeah, for me, it's sound is scarier. I always plugging my ears is better than closing my eyes. Like it's like the jump scare sound effects
Oh,
really get me.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it also that I'm like glad that you brought that up. The shadow lantern that sort of projects the crooked man
Yes.
within. There's my favorite movie of all time is Sleepy Hollow,
Mm,
and in that there's a similar segment where a little boy lights a shadow lantern and it like casts like light of Halloween themed images across the room. And ever since I was a kid, I was obsessed with it and I like wanted one. And of course there isn't one because it was just made for that movie. But yeah, they had one of this reminded me of that. And I one day I really want to get a shadow lantern.
what a beautiful movie Sleepy Hollow is. And Shadow Lanterns are kind of beautiful, creepy. That sort of perfect mix of those two things.
Absolutely. I remember when I was younger, I like really tried to find it from that movie. And I
Yeah.
think there was like something on Etsy, but like not quite.
Yeah, I bet
So
it's somewhat on Etsy.
maybe now it's better than it used to be, but I bet you there's some kind of cool shadow lantern that would
If there's any
suit my
fans
needs.
in the audience that want to make Josh the
Oh my
Shadow Lantern
god,
from
I
Sleepy
would
Hollow,
cry. I would cry. I'd
send it in.
cry. Why do we think no? Why do we think the Crooked Man was associated the most with the little boy in the movie?
I didn't realize it was. Explain.
Yeah, he's the one that almost every time that we interact with something to do with the Crooked Man, it's
Oh,
with
it's
the
in
little
the
boy.
tent. You're right.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you think it's because the little boy, the like little stutterer, um,
Hmm.
is bullied, so it's easy? Like he picks on him.
Yeah, I mean he is bullied, but I mean the monster like they kind of target the girl more than they target the
Yeah,
boy. I think it's because he's young and there's like a fably kind of fairy tale
yeah,
spookiness, kind of childlike spookiness to the Crooked Man that you don't get with the other ghosts.
that makes sense. Yep.
And James Wan is of course the king of spooky toy jump scares, which are so silly, but I like them. I know
E-
there's criticism on the internet, but I'm okay with that.
There were a few jumps in this that made me actually scream out loud. There
There,
were a few.
I had the volume absolutely off at one point because it was one of the scares that I remember really fucking with me. And even volume completely off on a laptop. I was like, oh fuck. It was the I think what was my favorite scare in the movie? It's the armchair reflection in the TV with the little girl. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
fucked up
It's fucking
material.
scary.
You know what this movie kind of okay, so there's one of the main ghosts in this movie is the ghost of this old man that died in the house. We find out later, of course, that he's being puppeted by a demon.
Yeah.
But for a lot of the movie, we think it's this like scary old man that used to live in this house and died in this chair. And we get some really good scares with him. It reminds me so much of that Dixie Chick song that I'm obsessed with. Did you pick up on that?
I didn't, but you're so right. It's like the music video.
It's like
But the dad,
I think it'd be funnier if you kind of explained this scenario for our audience. Are you willing to do that?
it's the song "Top of the World." Is that the name of the song, or is that
That's the
just
name of
what
the
they
song,
say?
yeah. And it's a cover by Patty Griffin, but made popular by the Dixie Chicks.
He's just obsessed with this music video, and he thinks it's like just the most tragic thing in the world. And I
Hmm.
feel like you always show it to everybody, and I feel like it
Uh-huh.
makes you cry almost every time.
Every time, every
There's
time.
something about that music video that
What's the
hits
concept
you.
of it? What's the
It's
concept of
it's
it?
like a dad, a really sort of like shitty deadbeat dad,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
he's like always ignoring them, and then she ends up with like a shitty deadbeat husband,
No, I
and
think you're
like,
getting this wrong. I think you're
am I
getting
getting it wrong? That's my memory. Oh my god, tell
I
me.
think you're getting it wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I apologize, but this is it. So yeah, so there's this deadbeat dad who like is emotionally detached from his family in like the 70s, and he has this beautiful little daughter that loves him and a wife that's trying to like help him cope, but he's clearly just like unable to love or show any kind of emotion. And in the video, you kind of cascade between his childhood and his little girl that's growing up to the present. And
Oh,
yeah, and you learn in the video the reason that he's so unable to sort of love and attach is because he had this like really fucked up mother who really fucked him up and like kind of was abusive, but also was really withheld emotionally. And so you see like the cycle of emotional abuse and how it kind of ends with him because he doesn't abuse his kid, but he's unable to give her the love she needs. But, you know, the mom is. And so at the end of the video, Natalie Maines grows up to be like a good, well rounded person because she had love from her mom. But this guy never got
oh
to
my
get
god,
that
that's so
himself.
fucking heartbreaking.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's
And
beautiful.
wait,
Well,
and before I'm running, each Dixie chick plays one of the important people in his life. So the dark hair one plays his like evil mother, and then the one nobody cares about plays his wife, and then the Natalie Maines plays his adult daughter.
that's funny that I remembered it totally differently.
I mean, I've seen it many times.
The true one is so sad. It's so much sadder than my memory of
But
it.
so isn't that great?
Yeah, that's
Everybody,
beautiful.
if you're listening, and if you've listened to more than one or two episodes of this podcast, you owe me this.
Yes.
Go watch Top of the World, the music video by the Dixie Chicks. I know the sounds unbearable and gay, but that's what this is.
Josh, that should be like on your tombstone, unbearable and
Unbearable and
gay.
gay. So true.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, wow. There was, and I will say within this, like kind of coming back to The Conjuring 2, I found the old man really sad. And that was sort of
Yes.
what I felt the whole time. I kept being like, I kept thinking, like, he's not going to kill them. He's just like a sad, grumpy old man. And
Yeah.
then when it turned out he was being held
Manipulated.
against his
Yeah.
will, I was like, okay, now it makes sense that I kind of got that vibe that he was like,
Uh-huh.
where's my family?
It's so sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sad, kind of great. James Wan does that really well, where he like kind of subverts hauntings. So the house is never just haunted. It's always like a little bit of a subversion of that. Like in Insidious, of course, the famous thing is that the house isn't haunted, the kid is
Oh,
haunted. And
yeah.
so I like how that's played with here. I also like how ultimately it's not like it goes beyond just religious into like the less noble realm of demons, which I like because while it is religiously affiliated, like it kind of goes up into the, cosmic Lovecraftian horror
Yeah,
element.
I think we could, and I wish there was more like demon, evil entity stuff without all the Christianity. Like he speaks in Latin with his cross, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
fuck's sake. Because I still think we could do it. Yeah.
I like that you don't like. I kind of feel like you're on my side a little bit with religious horror now.
I am. I think it's. I will say when it gets too religious, it takes me out again.
Huh.
It's like I will say the scene where she's in that room and all the crosses turn upside down made me actually laugh out loud. Like I audibly laughed.
It's funny because that's one of the big like promo scenes from the
Really,
movie. Like
I
in the trailer, it was on the poster. It's everywhere.
one thing I'll always say about that too is like I don't understand why an upside down cross is now demonic. Like you'd think a cross, if it hurts them, would still hurt them upside down. Like it's very
Well, if
confusing
you
to me.
think it's like it's the inversion, so it's the opposite. So if a upside down, if a right side up cross is everything that's good with the world, and an upside
Right.
down cross represents everything that's
I
evil
guess
and
I just
wrong.
feel like if a cross is so magical to keep away demons, I guess it's not that magical because the minute you turn it upside down, it brings on demons. I
But
don't
I
know.
think what's so scary is that it's blasphemy. It's taking what
Right.
is
Yes.
holy and
Right.
it's
You're
destroying
doing
it.
it the opposite. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fair. I thought that I
I'm
really
with you though. It's like who fucking cares?
yeah I thought it was silly, and I was like, you're scaring me enough. You don't need this stupid
But
thing.
it's to placate who are religious, right? Like I feel like it's kind
Uh
of why we do religious horror. It's
right.
because
Texas was like, yeah,
I'm seeing the demon and it's the homosexual.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
that
Turn
was
the frogs gay. Anyways,
their frogs were gay. Oh, is that a thing?
yeah, yeah, I think his name is Alex Max. He's like the really crazy.
Alex
Someone's gonna yell.
Jones.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, the guy who like yells crazy conservative shit and just like his lies. He said like the government is putting things in the water that's turning the frogs gay. It's like his really famous yelling ones. Yeah, it's amazing.
And
Anyways,
people love it.
people eat it the fuck up. Like yum 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 yum.
Joe Hogan. I don't know what I just said that for. Okay, where was I? So the Crooked Man movie. This is why we're here. It always takes me
Yes.
so long to get to the
Ugh,
point, and it's
you're
because
annoying.
it's because there's honestly not that much information usually, so I have to pad with the fun stuff. So yeah, The Crooked Man was once planned, maybe still planned. We'll figure that out at the end, as a spin-off film to The Conjuring 2. So
Okay.
in May 2017, producer Peter Safran stated that The Crooked Man was actually being considered by New Line Cinema as a feature film. So that's pretty cool. So was The Nun. Both of these characters are featured for the first time, I believe, in The Conjuring 2. So, yeah, a month later in June of 2017, The Crooked Man was officially announced. It was going to be developed by writer Mike Van Ways, who had a script based on a treatment by James Wan. So, Mike Van Ways is the writer that's attached still technically to this project. The only other thing this guy is known for, at least that I can find easily, is a writing credit on the upcoming live action. I think it's called Lilo and Stitch, which is like a live action Lilo and Stitch reboot for Disney.
Weird that they changed the name, but okay.
I think maybe they're doing like a girl version.
Yeah, but Lilo is always a girl, I think.
Maybe she has a daughter then.
Oh, okay, right. That's
I could also just be wrong. Hold on, let's look it up right now. Lily and Stitch. Have you ever seen Lilo and Stitch?
no, I haven't. Have you?
I have. It's like a 2002. It's one of like the last not CGI. It's quite good. I like any of the Disney kind of Polynesian movies, as you know, with Moana.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I think it's in the same realm. I'm trying to
But
find
I
it.
bet it's not as beautiful as Moana because I don't think anything can beat Moana.
Moana's my favorite fucking movie. I'm
It's
not able to find it, so I kind of think yes, it's just called Lilo and Stitch, and I think I just made a mistake. Well, I'm glad we figured that out, and I think a part of me knew to look into that.
yeah, it makes more sense that it's just still Lilo and Stitch.
So he's developing both of these projects. I don't think the Crooked Man is going to happen,
Mm,
but I think it in a second when I get to a quote from the producer, it might make a little bit of sense why they hired sort of like a children's movie writer.
hmm
Um, so Juan once told Entertainment Weekly that The Crooked Man was in early stages of development and that they wanted to develop a sort of new style for the film unrelated to the other Conjuring universe films. And they wanted to make it sort of like a dark fairy tale subgenre. I'm guessing kind of like a bit of a Guillermo del Toro energy, which I
Oh,
think would
that's
work.
cool.
I
Yeah.
know that kind of does sound good. And like I believe a year later goes by, and the producer stated that the script was in progress and that things were still sort of on the go. And then the last real update we got was in 2019, which is when the third Annabelle film came out, which is called Annabelle Comes Home. They got a quote. Yeah, we got a quote.
It feels like a bad romantic comedy. But anyways,
Annabelle Comes Home. It's
just the
really
title.
good, actually. I really like it. Yeah, it's out of the three, the second and the third ones I do suggest.
Is it like her coming back to the weird basement they have of haunted things?
Exactly.
Oh, that's amazing.
Or I don't think she's coming back, but I think it's just like, where we get to have fun and games in that basement with all those other scary things.
Oh,
And
that's
so,
cool.
yeah,
Very
so that movie is just a bunch of different scary things from that basement, sort of freaking out babysitters that are taking care of the kids in
cool.
the house. It's
Kind
actually
of like
quite
Cabin
fun.
in the Woodsy.
Yeah, kind of Cabin in the Woodsy. Yes. Yeah. And it kind of YA horror, but still scary. I really, really recommend it.
Okay, that sounds fun.
Yeah. So I believe at this point, this producer said something along the lines of they ended up making the Nun movie. It was a huge success, so they're pivoting to making the Nun 2 before they focus on the Crooked Man, because I'm assuming it's going to be like a guarantee moneymaker.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean that the Crooked Man isn't going to get made, but Peter Safran kind of indicated it was at the like kind of at the sideline now to make room for more Nun features. And I think the longer time goes by between the Conjuring 2 and now, the less chance they're going to actually do it, because it's less and less less and less
Memorable.
memorable or like relevant
Yeah,
as time goes by.
for sure. I mean, I think, I've heard of the Nun so much, even not have watching any of these movies. I actually
Hmm.
didn't even know she was from The Conjuring. I just like
Yeah.
seen that image and seen people dressed like that for Halloween and stuff like that. But I'd never heard of the Crooked Man before. So
Uh-huh. That's right. She definitely made a bigger impact
yeah.
than the Crooked Man, but of course, how do we know? Because she had her own movie that was a huge success.
Yeah.
But yeah, people loved The Nun. I believe she also had an appearance in Annabelle 2, a pretty scary, very like subtle sort of
How was
appearance in
she
that.
able to come back if they put her back into hell?
Annabelle 2 takes place earlier than this,
Oh,
I
got
believe. I believe it takes place in the 50s or something.
nice.
And then her movie takes place even longer ago. So the timeline is sort of all over the place.
Got it.
Um, yeah, so the Nun movies were made, but this movie kind of never did. It kind of fell away, and we're never. Well, we'll see at the end. You and I are gonna decide at the end if this movie still stands a shot at getting made. So I don't want to
Yeah.
get ahead of ourselves.
I
Yeah,
really like the idea though of it being like a scary fairy tale, like kind of for kids. Like I think that sounds cool and
I think it
creepy.
sounds cool too. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it would be CGI galore galore.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I think the best way to do it would be to be kind of a mixture of CGI and practical. Have you ever seen Weird the Wild Things Are?
No, I didn't see it.
It's a good example of what a mixture of the two can look like, and I think it has I don't know, has a cool effect. Okay, so that's it on the Crooked Man sort of film history production. I'm kind of interested in pivoting into talking about the boogeyman as an archetype. Are you down?
Yeah, so
I
down.
did. So I did tell you to sort of prepare
You did. You
some
told me to think
thought.
about it.
What did
Yeah.
I say exactly? Wait,
You
what was
said
the assignment?
you said pay attention to the crooked man and think about the boogeyman archetype and different boogeymen in the world, basically.
Definitely sounds like what my college class would be if I could teach anything.
It doesn't sound like what my college class would be.
No, no, it wouldn't, and it would still be hard, and it would still suck, and there would be too much reading for sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay, Jules, what is without thinking at all about any of the research maybe I presented you,
You
or
didn't show me that much.
I didn't. That's good. Or like even movies that he's been in. Just for you personally, how would you define the boogeyman, or what is the boogeyman?
So for me, the boogeyman, I've always thought of as this sort of like fear for kids, like to keep you out of doing bad things. So I feel like it's always been this like consequence, like the
Hmm.
boogeyman will get you if you do this. It's always been it always relates to children for me.
Hmm.
That it's like this childhood fear that kind of becomes huge and only you can see it, no one else can see it, which is incredibly horrifying as a kid. And I
Uh-huh.
think it's used as a tool by adults to be like, don't do this or the boogeyman will get you.
So it's like a cautionary tale.
Yeah, yeah, that's always how I think of it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would say, growing up, a lot of the time when you think of, like a scary monster that's sort of humanoid with like a hat, and he's kind of like
Yes.
male presenting. I like that I said
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yeah. No.
That's I agree. It's always kind of associated with kids. I think one of the big reasons I see it as that are some of like the media representation of
Yeah.
the boogeyman archetype that have stuck with me the most over the years. We'll get to the boogeyman in the media in a second,
Uh-huh.
but I thought it'd give us maybe a little history lesson on
Ooh.
like where it comes from and maybe where the words sort of originate from. So,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
the word boogie originated, to what I believe, in mid the 19th century. So it was originally a sort of quasi proper name for the devil. It may have also been derived from Middle English, the word bog or boog, which could mean terror or scarecrow, which is
Oh
kind
my
of cool.
God.
Yeah, it's scary, right?
So scary.
Yeah, the first reference to the boogeyman is considered to be more along the lines of something called hobgoblins,
Oh, okay.
which was described in England in the 1500s. So many people believed that these hobgoblins were made to torment humans, while some thought these hobgoblins only played sort of harmless pranks. Maybe some were meaner than others in nature. So I
Mm.
think some people think that the boogeyman kind of has evolved from goblins or hobgoblins from English fairy tales, I guess.
Wow.
I
That,
know, cool.
it's funny because I don't. It's really cool, and I don't really think of it, the boogeyman, as like playful goblins. It's
No, me
interesting how it's
neither.
moved. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
so
but it's
far in
it's
the world.
it's like anything in popular culture. Like I'll use Santa as an example, where like it just evolves with the culture and
Yeah.
like changes over time. I think. I mean, listen, I'm not a professional, but I think that's sort of what like folklore does.
Yeah. You're right.
It
Totally.
kind of evolves over time. So I sort of did a very preliminary scan of my favorite examples of the boogeyman archetype in media.
Mhm.
Do you want me to list, like, sort of
Please,
run this list
please
by you, and you can tell me if any of them were big
pop
deals
out.
for you? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think a big one would be Freddy Krueger. You
Right.
know, any kind of like spooky figure in in a hat, I think makes the cut. So I'm also going to include the Babadook. Um,
I mean, what an incredible, the Babadook, what an incredible movie.
uh-huh.
Especially as a trauma counselor, it was like so beautiful for me
I
to
I
watch.
found there to be some parallels between the Babadook and this in the Conjuring 2, where you have like a mother who's sort of outside of her realm of capability,
Yeah.
struggling financially, and sort of unable to emotionally manage taking care of her kid.
Yeah, I will definitely say, like, there was a kind of quick throwaway line where she said, my husband just left, and he just left us out of nowhere, and they were like, well, demons come to you at that time, like when things are really hard.
Hmm.
It made me think like that makes sense because trauma probably manifests in kids like really acting out and
Uh-huh.
things feeling really scary and really weighted. Like that really made sense to me for it to be a true story of like why these people probably thought they were haunted because I bet
Hmm.
there was things going on and like the anyways, I thought that
From
was
your
really interesting.
counselor perspective,
Yeah.
do you think that there is any crossover between emotional trauma and supernatural horror?
Supernatural horror.
Yeah, or
Uh
like real real supernatural stuff. Do you think that there is a sort of veil between those two concepts?
I think in the way that trauma can manifest in ways that like you can have auditory hallucinations, you can have tactile hallucinations, you can see things out of the corner of your eye, you can be really scared, feel really fearful at all times. That kind of stuff can happen. So I could see that being seen as supernatural, but I don't think there is a supernatural thing happening.
Hmm.
So yeah, I could see it as being perceived as supernatural, and I'm sure for someone who's experienced really serious trauma and now is experiencing all these feelings to then not be believed must be even more traumatic.
Yeah.
So it's just such a cycle that I'm sure would happen. But
Oh, cool. Yeah, I love that you phrased it like that because it leads me to one of my, most nostalgic and favorite examples, which would
Mhm.
be from Buffy season
Yeah,
2. There's an episode called "Killed by Death," where there's like the monster is called Der Kinderstad, and basically Buffy's in a hospital with a bad fever, and we learn that there's this monster, kind of humanoid figure in a suit and a bowler hat that is sucking the lives out of little kids when
Yeah.
they're sick. And only kids can see him, and he only comes around at night. And it really, really, really fucked me up as a kid. I would say, every kind of horror fan has the one thing that, kind of scarred them for life. And I would say that's the one that did it for me. I'm sure I've talked about it a lot over the years.
Oh my God. I've also seen that episode a million times.
Because it's
It
my
is
favorite
scary. I
one.
will say it is scary, but watching it as an adult is very different than probably watching it as a kid and getting scarred by it.
Yes. Yes, for
I
sure.
I was not privileged with Buffy as a child. Little bit of my trauma, just kidding. It's not really trauma, but so I've only watched Buffy as an adult when Josh has forced me to watch Buffy
Mhm.
episodes. Yeah, and I will say I like that thing of like kids not being believed. That's a trope in almost all horror movies, but I,
Uh-huh.
I always like it because I think it's so real. And I will say in this movie, I liked when like the cops were there and the thing moved, and I was like, wow, they actually were gonna do it. They actually did it in front of the cops. You'd think that I'm so used to people not being believed in horror movies, you know?
Yeah, no, totally. It's an easy trope to lean
Yeah,
on for scares, but it does work if you do it right. And I don't know if I'm just biased, but I do think that Buffy episode did it well.
it did. No, it did do it well.
There's
I
a
think it's
few.
such a human
Mhm.
emotion to be like need to be believed, especially when something really hard is happening. And so we can all feel that feeling would be like if we were trying to get help and people weren't believing us, you know?
I'm sure if you like dig deeper for half of a second, um, it would be easy to relate it to like, victims not being believed and the trauma
Exactly.
associated with that, and
Exactly.
how maybe usually there's a certain,
100%.
if you're a kid, maybe there's a certain through line and in who victimizes you, and
Yeah.
maybe there's a sort of,
And
yeah.
I do think that that's probably part of the boogeyman trope is sort of and I think why it's a man and it's always to kids. I'm sure there is some of this like cautionary tale around being afraid of men that are like trying to prey on children. Like I'm sure there's some uh you know
Uh-huh, a
link,
correlation,
yeah,
yeah.
to like pedophiles and trying to scare kids away
Hmm.
from
Or
people that
even
might.
like figures that probably are more likely to be abusers. I
Yeah,
don't want to
yeah,
make a lot of assumptions, but I'm assuming a lot of times that's adult men.
yeah, exactly. I mean
Um,
it is, yeah.
and we
Not
share
always,
that. Not
again, not
always, of
perfect,
course,
but
but
yeah,
I guess
yes.
I'm guessing statistically
Yeah.
it's pretty high. Something that I thought of when I was thinking about the boogeyman archetype is, do you think that over time maybe we've associated what doctors look like with the scary boogeyman
Ooh.
archetype because they're sort of the harbingers of death, or they certainly have been in a way.
Ooh, totally, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and how they used to kind of wear more
Like
like a
plague
bowler
doctors
cap.
and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, or even not even plague doctors, but like in the last 100 years, how they would dress. Maybe it would be more formal, but they probably wear a hat. They
Well, I
would be
think
male, older characters.
the boogeyman for some reason is always kind of dapper,
Yes,
for the most
yes,
part, and you're right that, like,
exactly. They
doctors
are
were
dapper.
always yeah, totally were, like, rich and dapper, and I think a scary doctor is also so scary, like, when I
Yes,
think about so many things, like, the idea of your doctor not being a good person, like,
very
you feel
frightening.
so vulnerable is so
Yes,
scary. Yes,
yes.
I'm sure that's probably in there, you
Yep,
know?
and there's nothing scarier than, like, that true crime Doctor Death stuff.
Oh, I can't wait for the miniseries of Joshua Jackson.
Yeah, what's the general is it I thought it was Christian Slater, or is he or are they both in it?
He's Christian Slater's in it as well, but he's not.
Uh-huh.
Joshua Jackson's playing the Doctor.
Oh god. What's the log line for the real story there? Can you inform me?
Yeah, like what's it about?
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
what
so the
was the
real
real
life
life
story
thing?
is there was a doctor, I believe he was a back surgeon, and
Ugh,
he
god.
was really awful, really did not know how to do his job, even though he graduated from a really high prestigious university. And it sounds like he was just kind of like egotistical and thought he could do no wrong. And what was happening is he was doing these surgeries horribly and people were dying or getting paralyzed for life. And
Ugh.
instead of the hospitals taking ownership, they would just literally pass him on to a new hospital with
Oh
a
god.
glowing review.
Oh
He's
no.
great, he's great, he's great. So he like bounced from hospital to hospital. So he's able to kill a lot of people.
Oh my god, it's very Spotlight. It's very the
Yeah.
Catholic
Yeah.
Church moving around their little pedophiles.
Yeah. I
Um,
definitely recommend the podcast for anyone
Doctor
who's
Death. I think it's too scary for me personally, I have to
yeah,
say.
honestly it's pretty scary. Yeah.
Yeah, so you like my doctor theory?
I love it. It's so on point. You're totally right.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah,
That's nice.
I know. I'm actually agreeing with you. Yeah, no, I do agree.
Before we move on to conclusion world, do you have any
Mhm.
like last thoughts about boogeymen or the boogeyman
I
archetype
mean,
or them in films?
I feel like we need to talk about the movie The Boogeyman.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
I
Let's
saw it
unpack it.
in theaters, which I want to
I think I
say.
did too.
Did we see it together?
No way. I
No,
think I
I
saw it
don't
with
think
my
we did.
dad. I wonder what year it came out. It was called
Yeah.
The Boogeyman,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. 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 Oh, yeah.
I also know that there was definitely a bunch of direct-to-video sequels to this.
Stop it. I
Yeah,
mean, The Boogeyman in general should have been a direct to fucking video because it was like probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
it was very bad. Hold on, I'm still trying to find it. It's the
But did
boogie.
I enjoy my movie watching experience? I think I did. I remember like laughing in the theater and like having a gay old time.
Jules, you're never
And
allowed again to say that. I can't.
gay old time?
Yeah, it was very homophobic. Okay, the Boogeyman film. I'm spelling it wrong, and Wikipedia is just like, what? Oh yeah, Boogeyman. I think it is just called Boogeyman. No,
Oh my
the
god.
Jules, you really fucked around with
Wow.
that. You really hurt me there.
Ruined the pod.
Okay, so Boogeyman is a 2005 supernatural film directed by
Oh.
Stephen Kay and starring Barry Watson, Emily Deschanel, and a bunch of
Oh.
oh my god, and Lucy
Oh,
Lawless.
yes, yes. I love how it's Stephen K. Like it's not Stephen King, but maybe he was trying to look like he was.
Who is the Stephen Kay fellow?
Like he's trying to get the notoriety that we like think it's Stephen King.
He apparently used to date Terry Hatcher and Eva Longoria.
Whoa,
I
that's
know.
Housewives tea.
I know, my favorite show.
Ugh.
Yeah, what was the lead? Barry Watson. He
I
was
just
in Seventh Heaven, right?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Was it
He
Seventh
wasn't the
Heaven?
pedophile. Yeah, yeah, he was in Seventh Heaven. He was
Oh yeah,
fun.
he
It
absolutely
was
was.
fun.
155 episodes. He was also in my favorite movie, Teaching Mrs. Tingle by Kevin Williamson.
You know, it's funny. Another Dawson's Creek person was in that movie.
Who, yes, Katie Holmes,
Yeah,
Honey Bear.
Honey Bear. I will say the Boogeyman. Or just Boogeyman. Sorry. Um, I loved that like lights killed him. Like you
Oh, I
couldn't.
don't remember that.
Yeah, so like if you had the lights on, he couldn't come,
Oh my
and so
god,
this
that was
guy,
it? Yeah.
yeah, the guy just like slept with the lights on all the time, and I was like, it's not that bad of a life, and it
No,
was,
no. I do it as it is. There's always some kind of light on. I
yeah.
feel like that was such a trope of the early to mid 2000s.
Ugh.
Like every movie was about that. There was a movie called They that had the exact same plot. You can turn off the lights or they'd get you.
Oh gosh.
I think also Darkness Falls starring Emma Caulfield.
I was gonna bring up Darkness Falls. Absolutely, the Tooth Fairy, which is interesting because it was like a female boogeyman, which doesn't happen that often.
Yes, yes. Well, it's a tooth fairy, so maybe it's kind of its own thing, but would you say it falls into the archetype?
It felt like a boogeyman movie when I saw it because it felt like again a folklore for kids to be like scared of, like cautionary, like it felt like that. But
Uh-huh. Would you
maybe
say
I'm
Mary
kind of
Shaw from Dead Silence also falls into it?
yeah, I would. I
That's
would.
cool.
Which isn't, I mean, like, again, maybe I'm finding too many similarities and maybe I'm missing the,
No, no, maybe not though.
but
It's
I
it's
will
a
say
full
Mary
blown.
Shaw, what I love is that if you scream, she can kill you. That is fucking scary.
Yeah, beware the stare of Mary Shaw. I really want to turn it into like a origin series, like a period piece origin series in like the 40s or whatever about
Yes.
her life, and she was like turning people into dolls.
Yeah, do
Pretty
it.
amazing, right?
Yeah,
Okay, Jules, if you're comfortable with it, I think we can head into conclusions. Are you ready?
I'm totally comfortable with it.
All right. Do you think, and we have to be careful with our answer because what we say is law,
Oh,
is the Crooked Man film going to get made?
so I think unfortunately it will not be made.
Why not?
I think it's too far gone. I think people don't really remember the Crooked Man. I think it's all about the nun. And so I don't think it's gonna happen.
Good for her.
Right? Get it,
Yeah, more
girl.
stories about
I
women.
was gonna say totally the Bechdel test. Anyway,
I will say though, more female antagonists in horror would be amazing.
yeah. Though I think the nun is played by a man. It looks like it.
No, I believe not actually, and she's kind of
Oh,
getting famous. I think she's going to be in the new Ari Aster movie. I forget her name. I apologize, but yeah, that actress is a woman. Quite
oh
a
my god!
beautiful.
I'm so glad to hear that. I thought it was.
Yeah, she
I
just
thought it
has
was like
very
the Insidious
distinct
thing.
features.
Yeah. Sorry.
Um, hold on.
Gender.
Do I want to say her name? Is it? I always find when I listen to podcasts, people are always looking stuff up and nobody cares.
Yeah. I don't think people care, but you can look it up.
Um, I don't know. Who cares?
Everyone has Google. You can Google it.
People know, it's fine. Okay, so you're saying no. You're saying no to the Crooked
I'm
Man.
saying, unfortunately, no. What do you think?
I think you're right. I think
Yeah.
it is maybe too late for the Crooked Man. Although who knows? The thing is that yes, they're pivoting to the Nun because the Nun did so well. But every one of these Conjuring universe movies does really, really well.
Wow.
So I feel like all of them are kind of a safe bet.
But
So
I
maybe
wonder if, like, how Dead Silence didn't do well, which was his kind of pivot into sort of like younger, kind of spookier, ookier things, and that flopped. They'd be worried that the Crooked Man would do the same.
You could be right. You could be right. It could be less of a guarantee sort of genre,
Box
the like
office.
the fantasy younger genre.
Yeah.
Because clearly the religious horror stuff is
It's
gangbusters no matter what.
it's selling. Yeah, it's going well.
It does well because people are dumb and they're religious. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. You said that. I'm probably gonna have to cut that. Yeah, I'm gonna cut that up.
Yeah.
Do we want to see a Crooked Man movie?
I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, right? And
Yeah,
I don't think
yeah.
actually it would be expensive because they'd have to make it look good.
And I think it would be cool if it was practical effects, but they're not going to do that because they don't do that anymore.
They don't do that. It would be cool what do you think of this? You know how they make kid movies now where it looks claymation, but it's kind of CGI?
Yes.
What if we did something like that where it's maybe partially claymation, but it's like CGI and it's like a Frankenweenie moment?
Yes, that would be
Or like a Coraline kind of a thing.
Ooh, yeah.
There we go. We got it. We got it.
Coraline.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Like a Coraline-esque. They made a bunch of movies kind of like Coraline, and that's kind of what I'm thinking.
But make it like actually scary.
Yeah. Make it like
not
scary.
like not scary. Teen scary.
Yeah. Like Guillermo del Toro, and like gateway horror scary.
Yeah. Oh, so in for that movie. I would put money in for that Kickstarter.
Okay, Jules, we're gonna have to get that going.
Unfortunately, counters don't make a lot of money, but
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Okay, so now that you've survived The Conjuring 2, do you feel okay? Was this too much for you? How are you feeling?
On the scariness side, like this is probably as scary as I want to watch. It was a lot. It was a lot for me. I was very glad that I didn't see it in theaters. Like taking breaks really helped. I think it would have traumatized me in theaters.
I was very scared by it in theaters. I still find it scary. It's stupid, but it's scary.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's very stupid, but and I also love how like the nun being this like horrible demon that was like so magical was killed so easily.
I know your name.
Like she just like exploded.
Yeah,
it's like wow. Well, that was easy. Yeah,
I know. It's very like they needed to finish the script.
And like, why did the nun tell her her name? That was pretty stupid of the nun.
That was pretty because all you need to do is say it, and then they're gone. Because Jesus loves you.
Yeah,
Jesus
I guess
wants
Jesus
good things for you.
Anyways, whatever. But yes, I appreciate now that I know what the Conjuring universe is because I do feel like I was missing out on like a bit of the zeitgeist. So
yeah, I would say you were. And the third one obviously just came out. This is why I believe the Insidious movies are basically the Conjuring movies, but not religious, and that's why I like them.
Yeah,
all
Insidious one was scarier.
What would you say? What are you now, Conjuring or Insidious? Who wins?
Insidious.
Nice.
That being said, I haven't seen the first Conjuring, but.
So you've seen Insidious 1 and
Conjuring 2.
and Conjuring 2. I think you have seen Insidious.
No,
3.
You tried to show me 3 and then you got scared and turned it off.
Yeah, that sounds like me. I am an apologist for the third Insidious movie. I really like it, but I do remember getting drunk or high that night and being like, "This is
you were too scared."
Much
yeah,
you were gonna leave, and then I was gonna be alone.
I'm gonna watch the whole thing, but yeah, you're right.
No, eventually you were gonna have to leave.
I wasn't gonna stay with you forever.
I remember being very authentically scared that night.
Yes,
I know it's not a scary movie. All right, Jules, if you want to be found, where can people find you?
I guess you can find me on Instagram, Jules Rules Your World, but I'm not really someone that interesting. But yeah.
So it's Jules _rules _your world. Yeah. And if you're in Toronto, you may see that tagged in bathrooms.
You may.
You may and you might. All right, that was fun. Thank you, Jules. So thanks for coming on this podcast. Do you think you'll ever come back?
I would if you asked me. Thanks so much for having me again.
I think I'll ask you. I think I would.
I appreciate it.
All right, so I'm just going to hit stop. Don't go away, okay?
Okay. Good night.
No, don't leave.
No, I'll stay there.
All right, well, thank you so much for listening, and we'll be back with another episode of Development Hell. Coming soon to Dread, Val. Finn, a wanted criminal, hides out with an escort named Val, a demon. Val offers to make all of his problems disappear if he follows her rules. She has been expecting him all along, and it won't be easy to escape Val's dungeon. You can catch Val on October 5th, and on Blu-ray, November 2nd.